Okay, so call to order for the Economic Development Commission, Wednesday, February 23rd. In attendance, we have Ron Jodas, Heather Getz from Board of Selectmen, Melissa Appleby, Charmaine Seavey, Missy DeNuno, Brooke Freeman is on the phone, Maria Capriola, and I'm the Chairman Bob Crowther. So welcome everybody. The first item on the agenda is the review and approval of the minutes from our last meeting on December 15th. They were included in your packet. I assume everybody's had a chance to review them. Do we have any changes or edits required for the minutes? If not, do we have a motion to accept the minutes for the meeting?
Motion to accept.
Ron, motion to accept. Charmaine, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. Minutes are approved. The second item on the agenda is the consideration of the Ukulele Festival fee waiver request to Eno Hall. I received an email from Tom Roy on January the 20th, making this request. And Maria, how best to handle this? Like, do we formally take a vote, or do we use the email that we used, or?
Yeah, I think just a quick introduction and then a formal vote would be helpful. This is actually the first time, I think, since the EDC was reconvened, that we've received a fee waiver request to use some of our facilities. And there is essentially a box that somebody can check on the application if they feel that there's going to be an economic development benefit to the town, that they could request, again, a fee waiver for the event and for the use of the facilities. So the Ukulele Festival application has come forward, and we have Missy here this evening, and she could speak to that a bit more specifically about the event and the economic development benefit that they believe that this will bring. But it's actually sort of the EDC's decision. If you concur and support the fee waiver request, then we can move forward with granting that fee waiver for them.
Okay, so Missy, why don't we turn it over to you and give you a few minutes to talk about your festival.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me and entertaining the request. We very much appreciate it. This will be a first-time event for us. One of the things that the Performing Arts Center is really getting into now, beyond just being a rental facility, is kind of presenting our own programming. And this was a nice opportunity that was brought to us by a local group, Connecticut Ooks. And for those of you who don't know, I had to receive my education. Typically, we all learn to say it as ukulele, but I was promptly corrected by my ukulele friends that the correct pronunciation. So when you hear me say it and it sounds weird, it's because I was told that's how I have to say it if I'm a member of this committee. So they brought forward Marie Lim, who's a town resident, and Arnie Sholovitz brought forward the idea to do an ukulele festival here in town, because they had been to some throughout the United States and some in Canada even. So we are working with a consultant in Canada who has hosted a number of festivals to put one together here. It would be the first of its kind. We're hoping will become an annual event for us, bringing in professional instructors to run workshops all day long at Eno Hall on Saturday, September 10th. And then two of the instructors happen to be Grammy award-winning artists. And so we are going to have them back on Sunday at the hall to do a children's performance for about the preschool age group, because they specialize in that. So the festival, which is really nice and unique for us, will bring people from, some of the instructors are from Michigan, Canada. So you're talking a wide range of individuals who will come into Simsbury and get to know and love it, and hopefully want to come back year after year. Obviously, with out-of-staters, you're going to have a good amount of hotel usage, restaurants, etc. A number of the ukulele members who live in town are going to host folks at their home, so really give them a personal tour of the town we know and love. So we're really looking forward to it. And we certainly appreciate the support as a nonprofit. Whenever we can go forward and work with the town for some type of fee waiver to bring new programming to everyone in the community, it's so helpful to us, just because there are a good amount of expenses when you kind of undertake any kind of presentation that's not a rental, and there's some risk involved. So particularly in this first year, so important to us to have your support if you are willing and able, so that we can continue to bring these types of programs forth to the community.
Great. Thank you very much. So we had submitted a packet to everybody from the EDC, and it's also included in your package that Tom distributed earlier. Do we have any questions or comments from the EDC members on this request?
Are we just offering the hall at no cost, or covering any of the expenses, or is the festival covering their own expenses?
So from my standpoint, my understanding is that this would cover the cost just of renting the hall. We will still owe custodial fees and all of that. So obviously those would be kind of reimbursable back to the town. And we would cover all of the expenses related to the actual festival itself. It's purely just waiving the rental fee on the building. Am I correct? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct.
And what is the general fee, Maria, that would be charged, and how many people would be expected from in town and out of town to participate?
So I don't necessarily know. I think we will bring a good amount from in town just through the Connecticut Ooks group, which is very much Farmington Valley based. But they are expecting, I think we're going to cap the festival at 190. Obviously, we can sell a few more to that children's performance the next day. But because it's the first year and because there's limited space and we want to make sure everyone has a good experience and breakout sessions and all of that, it will be capped at 190 for the actual festival portion.
And all proceeds from the ticket sales go to the Simsbury Performing Arts Center, correct?
Correct. And the goal is to use any proceeds as a reserve fund to continue the festival going forward.
Great. Okay.
How many people do they have on their mailing list or association list, or, how many people are, I know you're only expecting 190, who knows, maybe get more, but how big is their group? I've never heard of it, but that doesn't certainly mean anything.
One of the nice things about working with this consultant out of Canada and these artists is they kind of come with their own followings. And from what I understand, and forgive me, I do not play the ukulele. Yes, trying to convince me. This is a kind of a niche market. So a lot of people who go to these festivals go from festival to festival to festival. So we would be kind of garnering the support of other festival goers. Actually, some of the members of Connecticut Ooks have been to these festivals. So are very confident that they will be bringing people from all over who kind of get together and do this quite frequently.
Well, if they do, I would hope and assume that they have their own, I've not looked it up, their own Facebook groups, social media followings. I would hope that they would do, not that the newspapers have much circulation anymore, but do some sort of self-promotion for this as well.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a marketing budget as part of the festival budget, and we will do traditional marketing as we do for all of our performances, both on website, digital, social media. They have a very strong social media digital marketing network, and that is primarily how they market the festival. So they've got a lot of kind of followers who partake seeking out this type of entertainment.
Then you should have a good crowd then. And I think it's a great idea to do something. My children are out of the house, but the preschooler thing, that sounds like a really fun family thing to do. And, there's even, rock groups that have ukuleles in them. It's kind of a new frontier of music, so to speak.
Sure is.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Then why don't we have a quorum here for a vote. Why don't we take a vote then of the members of the EDC who are here? Brooke, since you're on the phone, we can't see if you raise your hand. Please keep your hands on the wheel while you're driving. How do you vote?
In favor.
Oh, favor. Charmaine?
Aye, yes, in favor.
Ron?
Yep.
Okay, and I'm in favor. So a vote of 4-0, we approve the fee waiver. And Missy, I guess the one comment we got from our emails was, to the extent we can track actual expenses and usage and as best you can, use of the town facilities and how many people actually stay at hotels, so on and so forth. So we can kind of track that economic impact of this for next year. That would be terrific.
We will absolutely do that.
And so thank you very much. We look forward to having a group in town, and we will all learn how to not only spell or say ukulele properly, but maybe some of us might learn how to play it. So we look forward to it.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you so much for your support and for having me tonight.
Thank you, Missy.
All right. Enjoy your evening.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thanks, Missy.
Next on the agenda, the stakeholder liaison updates. Anything from Sarah Nielsen, the Main Street Partnership? I know Sarah's not on the call, but I've not got an email from her or anything. Maria or Melissa, did you get anything?
No, I know she was trying to prepare an update on the marketing project for this evening. I did not yet receive that though, so I'm not sure if Charmaine or Brooke might have an update for this meeting.
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. Okay.
Neither have I. I haven't spoken to Sarah in a while.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
do we have any sense of what next steps were with our consultant?
Well, the last I had heard was, he was supposed to be preparing something to show and to deliver. So that's the last I've known.
Okay. All right. I will try to reach out to her before our next meeting. The one thing I did want to ask her, maybe Maria Melissa may have a sense of this. I know she was working on trying to increase the Wi-Fi coverage for downtown and was kind of taking that as a project that she was kind of shepherding through. And I've seen the Frontier trucks along Hot Meadow. I don't know if that's a direct result of that effort, but do you have any update or sense of how that's going?
Yeah, she's going to be presenting an update on that at the March 17th Public Safety Subcommittee meeting. We usually stream those both online and that's at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I think we'll have a pretty good update. That I know she was also going to try and summarize the survey data that from the survey she had put together in the fall and try to present on that as well at the March 17th meeting.
Okay. Obviously, that's a huge project because it's one of the major pain points of our small business owners here and that are in the center of town. Okay. Morgan is down in Florida visiting family. The only updates, I've had a couple updates for her. I think right now the number one item that the chamber is working on is the proposed merger between the Simsbury Chamber and the Granby Chamber of Commerce. From all indications, that's progressing very nicely. I do not know when the official vote will be taken, but it should be between now and our next meeting. So we'll be looking forward to an update from her at that meeting. One thing we did do earlier this month, Morgan did a terrific presentation both to Heather and to Wendy Maxtudis on the proposal for the co-working website. And it's a presentation that both Melissa and I participated in. I thought, of course, I have a personal bias here, but I thought the presentation was obviously very well done and I think very well received. But I would like very much to get Heather's feedback and comments and thoughts on the presentation and kind of next steps.
Hi. So yes, I actually thought Morgan did a really nice job with presenting for the co-working space. I think that she showed a need. Well, she showed where participation could be with property owners in town and the potential need for it. I think the only questions, or some of the questions that we may still have is just the timing of it with the Granby merger. And so how is that going to be paid for with it potentially being paid for by Simsbury, but it will be a merged entity and what that will look like. So I think that just puts the tiniest bit of a hiccup in it with still probably questions that the board may have. And we're still working through the budget, but I did think that it was presented well. And I know there was an option to give it a try if even to try it for 2 to 3 years rather than 4 to 5. So I think probably the board still needs to have a discussion a little bit further on it if that's the next step.
Okay, so I do know that as far as paying for it, we were looking to use the American Rescue Plan funds to pay for the cost of the development of the website. And I know that the town is taking a look at prioritizing the use of those funds. So I think, Melissa, it's fair to say it's on the list for consideration. And
Yeah.
and so as that discussion goes forward and decisions are made, hopefully they will include the website development as part of that. So kind of wait and see on that. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. The other quick update from the chamber in January. Tom Earl and I worked with Morgan to reach out to a number of business owners here in town to gauge their level of interest in holding a job fair. It's something that the business owners have been questioning about. And so the approach we took was we got a list from Morgan, and Tom and I took a look at that list and ended up identifying 26 different businesses to reach out to. The vast majority of them would be in favor of holding a job fair. And so the next question is the timing of it. The concern is, first off, given that they're working on the merger, that has the highest priority. But the other concern is, while the businesses would be interested in holding it, we're not sure yet how many actual people would show up for it. From what I have a personal friend of mine who is in the business of finding jobs for people, and he said that given that there's still a lot of opportunities for job, we're just not seeing a lot of people actually applying for jobs. So the concern we have is if we did hold a job fair, will we get enough people to show up to make it worthwhile for the businesses? So I think the timing of this will be probably pushed off into the springtime. We'll have a better sense of feel. One, hopefully the merger is behind, or the vote on that or that activity is behind us. And two, we have a better sense of what the labor market's going to look like going forward. So that's something we'll keep an eye on going forward. Ron, any updates from the zoning commission?
Yeah, let's see. So it's always a little spotty here in the winter around the holidays. A couple of things that have come through. The accessory dwelling units, they officially closed the public hearing for it, and they're going to plan to vote to opt out. So I don't know if you guys are aware what that's all about. It's the state has a mandate coming through that the towns have to either adopt a state zoning regulation that basically allows every property in the town to become a two-family property. There's no restrictions on having any kind of accessory dwelling unit. A lot of people call them an in-law apartment or something, but it's basically just dividing a property up so you can have two different families on it. So the zoning commission has opted to opt out and write up their own regulations, so that'll go on. They're doing some other work, updating their signage regulations, allowing backlit signs on Route 44. Nothing really major, but I think it's positive to the businesses that need to compete with the Avon businesses that have a little less stringent signage regulations. The short-term rental regulations, which is basically the Airbnb regulation, I call it. We spent a couple months in the fall and writing some up because without anything in the zoning regulations, it's not allowed. But people have been doing it anyways. So that regulation was written up, and the way it's going to work is it's going to require a permit by the Board of Selectmen. So it's not going to be a zoning regulation per se, which is probably a good thing. So that anytime somebody wants to set up a Airbnb usage on their property, they have to get a permit for it. It doesn't become part of the property, which is a zoning regulation. Once you got it on your property, it would be there forever. It would be very hard to remove it. So this requires someone who's interested in doing an Airbnb on the property to get a permit, renew it every other year. So let's see, that's behind us. The other thing was the Talcott Mountains, Ridge at Talcott Mountain, that big complex. they've been struggling with trying to find any kind of retail or I guess even commercial businesses that would be interested in locating on their property. Part of the original permit required that they have, I forgot what it was, 5,000 or 8,000 square foot of commercial space. And they have a building set for that. They haven't started construction on it, and it's just kind of waiting. And it's been there for a good 2 years now, maybe, I think, trying to get someone to go into it. So now they've come back to zoning and said, we're not having any luck getting any commercial space in there, and we'd like to convert it to residential, put up another 15 single bedroom units in there. The zoning commission didn't seem to be very happy about that. They would like to have that property be mixed use. That's how it was approved, as mixed use. And I think that's the way they're going to lead with it, say that they're not going to allow that change. So that'll either, Silverman Group will either just keep holding out from building it until they find someone, or I don't know if they'll decide to build a generic open floor plan and put it up. They certainly were talking about doing the residential built floor plan so they could convert it to commercial if they ever had the opportunity, but I don't think the zoning commission is going to go for that. And that's about it.
Okay. Thank you for those updates. On design review, we haven't had a meeting now in several months, so I have nothing to report on that. On the Sustainability Commission, I don't know if has the board approved the actual merger, if you will, of the two commissions? Okay, so now it's the Sustainability and Clean Energy Task Force Commission. So we've combined the two. Our major effort this year will be the application for certification in 2022. The application is due in August, but we are working on it now, and it's going to take a lot of work to get it that completed. And so we are meeting monthly on that. More to come, but it's a pretty, I've sat with Melissa and gone through my sections, and it's pretty extensive and detailed. So we may be reaching out to some of you folks to see if we can, get some additional arms and legs to help pull some of these things together. I am going to need the help of the Main Street Partnership and Chamber and to meet our sections around economic growth within the town. So it's going to be quite an effort. On Spirit Council, Tom will be participating in their next meeting, which I believe is next week, but no updates from him. And we just need to get him introduced to Chris Nelson on the development projects as he continues to kind of monitor the development of the new apartment complex there on Iron Horse Boulevard. So that's it for stakeholder liaison updates. Moving on to our work plan discussions. We've already gotten an update on the marketing from Brooke and Charmaine. Thanks for that. On the business outreach, so I sent up a PowerPoint to you all on my efforts over the past 2 months. The request was made to reach out to the Simsbury manufacturing and technology companies here in town and try to do a business outreach, a call on them to get their sense and feel of how they like doing business in Simsbury. It's been something I've reached out to Ron for help with, and appreciate his help in helping me narrow down the list. We started out with 860 towns that are listed from the library resource manager, and we got that down to, we identified 21 manufacturing or technology related companies here in town. From that 21, Ron was able to help me whittle that down to 5 that we thought were reasonable to try to reach out and contact. The largest of that one is the Denton Bickford, of which we hopefully will talk to them sometime later this week, or later this year, as part of our call on our largest taxpayers. I think we talked to them back in 2019 2019, 2020. And we're kind of due for an update from that. So other remaining ones, BMI CAD Services, Circle Commerce, Designs and Prototypes Ltd, and Micro Tools. The only one who I was able to reach was the Design and Prototype Ltd, and the gentleman's name was Wynn Wadsworth. And I asked him how many people are employed there, and he said, well, just me. And I have a partner in New Hampshire, so there's two of us in the company. And we outsource pretty much everything else. They do final test and assembly here in Simsbury. But as a business in Simsbury, he's a long-term resident of Simsbury. He loves living in Simsbury. His family is here. He's very happy with the town. Hopes to keep growing his business here. The others, the challenge has been you call, you leave a message, ask for a call back, or you get a hold of a voicemail, you leave a message and you call back. And people are busy, got a lot on their plates, so they haven't been forthcoming and calling me back. So I've done it. I've left a couple of messages, and right now I'll be only able to get a hold of one person. So it's been a little frustrating, but I think it's kind of what we've seen with other kinds of business outreach activities. So again, I'm open to suggestions and ideas on other things we can be doing. In this age of COVID, I'm reluctant just to show up at the business and knock on the door. I don't think that'd be very well received. So we'll just keep hammering away and see what we can do. But again, if anybody has any ideas, Ron, if you know one of these people on the list, where we could reach out and try and set up a call, I would appreciate that as well. So looking for any.
One of the things that I we talked about, Bob, was trying to get something out there that showed that they might be interested in. And I think your job fair might be something that, an introduction to say, hey, I want to talk to you, but we're also putting together a job fair. And, would you be interested in what kind of employees you're looking for? That might be a way to get them to at least return a call.
Yeah, and that's a great idea. As we get that thing finalized with the chamber, we'll definitely reach back out to these folks and see what we can do.
Did you also send them a couple of emails with a subject line that says, No, I called and or something. I just said, here, I gave him my name and told him who I was and my reasons for calling, types of questions I would be looking to get answers to. But you didn't send them an email?
I did not send them an email. No, I just left the voice.
I would always send emails because some people really don't like to talk, but they'll answer. I mean, it can go two ways. I'd rather call someone myself, but there's other people that would rather just answer an email. They find it less invasive. They can say what they want with having to talk to somebody and correspond that way. There's definitely quite a few people that only like to correspond via email. And another way to also hit them up, which doesn't work with me personally, but that business owner is probably also on LinkedIn. And if you send them a LinkedIn message, I'm not good at answering my LinkedIn messages, but I know that a lot of people do answer LinkedIn messages.
Okay.
So, and especially if you're stating that you're trying to help them as part of the Simsbury economic, we're not trying to sell them anything, know.
Right. So, okay. I'll
that's just my recommendation.
I will take a look at that and see what we can do. Appreciate the feedback. Any other thoughts, ideas?
Just thinking about your job fair again, and you're saying trying to get both the businesses and potential hires there. You said you had 26 potential businesses that would be trying to line up here.
Yeah, I got a list from Morgan on, who should we reach out to and contact. And so there was like 50 businesses that she gave us. And she said, if you could reach out to one or two in the various categories, restaurants, wellness centers, financial services firms. We rent, Holloway's. There's a visiting nurses association, banks, private schools, what have you. So those are so we got a cross section of businesses here in town that we reached out to.
So I'm just trying to think what type of employees they're going to be looking for. You got a pretty broad swath there. You get potentially medical trained people, some service trained people, maybe some financial. Just trying to figure out how you're going to target to get some bodies to show up there.
Yeah. That's a great question.
They kind of match them together, right?
Yeah. And, how we promote this, I mean, Morgan does a terrific job of promoting various activities from the chamber. So I was kind of relying on her to, and we'll rely on her. We were just trying to help her out, trying to gauge level of interest from the companies here in town. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay. The other items on our work plan, to create the welcome letter and the packet for new businesses. It's a to be determined. I think, Maria, that's one of the things that I spoke with Carrie about that she would be interested in doing if she does join our team. The shadow program that Mike or Tom's working on, talked about that a little bit. And the website development piece is something that Carrie also mentioned that she might be willing to help out with. So we'll see how that one plays out.
And Bob, just quickly, I think that Brooke had also volunteered to help with that project. And
okay.
I know Melissa has given some thought to how we could best sort of maybe approach that. I don't know, Melissa, if you want to give a quick update and then perhaps connect with Brooke afterwards.
Brooke, you still on the phone there?
I'm still here.
Okay. Thoughts, ideas?
I'm sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay, Brooke. I was just, and I know Brooke and I haven't really had a chance to connect, but just giving some thought as to what this might look like. And I think the simplest place to start would be basically to do an inventory of our website in terms of what we're putting out there. I know there were some concerns about dead links and old resources that were outdated. So at least to start, to just have sort of someone do an audit, if you will, and kind of give us a list of recommendations of things we can update to start. So I think that's sort of low-hanging fruit. That's potentially something we can take care of, early this year. So those are sort of my initial thoughts on that, and then just roping someone in to help out with that.
And I was just going to say that, Melissa, I did get your email the other day about sort of the anticipated plan forward given the IT restraints that may exist. And I'm happy to sort of start going through and conducting that audit. I don't know if it's just me, I don't know how long that will take. If other people want to join in on the endeavor, might not take that long, but I think the plan should be or could be just kind of going page by page and making some notes and then and suggestions and sort of see start small and see how far we get. I don't know. I haven't really given it much thought aside from that.
And I think that would be a very good first step. When I went on the EDC website just to see what was there and if the links actually work and, where does it take you and things like that, that's where you start to see kind of the breakdown that, so even just, spending some time on just taking a look at what we currently have and jotting down some notes, what you observe, what you see. And then maybe we just kind of collectively, put our notes together and then create a plan of here are the problems that we're seeing, here are the exposures. And then we can kind of create a plan of how we may want to address it going forward.
I'm happy to take a few pages. I mean, if Brooke's taking a few pages or whatever, it's always making a group effort. So.
Thanks, Charmaine. And just a quick question. In general, is this sort of endeavor, are we thinking that it's going to be an entire revamp? Because I know when this conversation came up a few years ago, it was that the website is just very busy. And that when somebody goes to the site, there is the, how do I, or I'm not looking at it, but where like 50 options come up. as to where you can click. Is this just to fix dead links and sort of clean it up as like a preliminary matter, or is the end goal here to kind of revamp the website in its entirety? Because I know the other question or hurdle was funding to do that.
Yeah.
And we talked about maybe having a summer intern or someone who was, tech savvy that could volunteer to make those changes. So Melissa, do you have any indication as to sort of the extent of the changes?
Yeah, and what I was envisioning was more of not a total revamp, but more of just cleaning up, making sure things are current and relevant. And I was thinking it would be, and Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was thinking, more of the economic development type material. So not just the EDC page, but, stuff that we have on the planning and building department webpage, even some of the resources we have related to the Business and Career Center, that kind of thing. So I wasn't thinking, to your point about, the more extensive project that might require funding. I was thinking more of just to clean up and refresh kind of from the EDC perspective or economic development type items.
Okay.
It's my experience that most websites, it's a lot easier, quicker, and cheaper to do a revamp, do some corrections. Doing a total revamp is just, rebuilding is just so much more expensive and time consuming and everything else. And, interns in that are good ideas, but with my client base, I've had more bad responses from interns who, don't know the client, no matter what the client is, when they're like, oh, we're just going to hire this kind of person to do it. If we've got a fantastic intern, then that's great. But most of the people that aren't true professionals, in my opinion, have not done a very good job because, first of all, they're not in it to win it, so to speak. They're not in it for the long haul. Now, every now and then somebody might be, really trying to build themselves up or whatever. But I don't know. I'm very leery of having an intern do something like that.
Yeah, I do agree with you. The topic of intern came up only because I think at the time that this was originally brought up, there was only one person, and maybe that's still the case, one person working IT for like the whole town. Is that right, Maria? There was one person who was in charge of like the IT for the entire town and was going from like business to business and was completely overwhelmed and had no extra time to do a project like this.
Yeah, you have such a good memory, Brooke. You're really close. It's 2 full-time staff members, but they support, just on the town side of things, they support 10 different work sites, all of our IT infrastructure for all of our departments, but then they also provide some additional support to the Housing Authority, our Regional Probate Court, and the Board of Ed Central Office. So for 2 people, it's a great memory. You're right. They're just so tapped out in terms of capacity that to do a complete website, redo sort of project would be comprehensive enough that we would most likely need to also like contract out a good chunk of that work. But I think kind of starting small and the areas that Melissa talked about, like the Business, and Career Center and the Economic Development page and economic development items that are on the planning page, like really just kind of cleaning that up and making sure that we have relevant documents and things that are current, I think would be a really good start.
Band-aids at this point, just clean it up as best we can. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. The last item on the work plan was, and we talked about it earlier, was the ongoing support for the entrepreneurs around the business resources, the information infrastructure, co-working web space, which will also include the a site for tourism, the development projects, and other things. Maria, the Flower Bridge map and other things, just be a site for the town to use for on economic development. So we'll continue to work that project through. Then the last item on our list is the personnel discussion. Do we just take a vote to add it?
Correct. You could just add it to the agenda with a 2/3 vote.
Okay, so all in favor of talking about personnel, please raise your hand. Okay, it's in favor. All right, I'll turn it over to you, Maria, to talk about it real quick.
Sure. So I think we have some good news to share. You all may recall that Peter Van Loon, while he's enjoyed his time serving on the commission due to work commitments and some personal commitments, he was looking to take a step back and leave the commission, but that he didn't want to leave us in our work until we found a replacement. What's I think a really neat opportunity, and Bob Crowther had an opportunity to connect with her, is one of our former members, Carrie Meckel, who I think was a really great contributing member of the team early on. Has an interest in coming back and helping to continue our work. You may recall she also had needed to step back from the committee a little while back when she had taken a new position, and just her work commitments at the time, she wasn't able to continue to help. But she was, again, a great contributing member of the commission. She'd like to come back and help again. So I think that's good news that we have potentially found a replacement for Peter. So we have a personnel subcommittee meeting scheduled this Friday morning. I'm just going to provide that update, kind of check in with them, see if whether or not they think another interview, would be warranted. Carrie did, just like the rest of the EDC members, go through a competitive recruitment and interview process previously and was selected previously. And again, as I mentioned, she did leave the commission on very good terms. So hopefully more to come on that. If the personnel subcommittee agrees with that recommendation, it would then be advanced to the full board of selectmen. So hopefully, again, if folks are generally supportive of that recommendation, we would have that buttoned up by the middle of March or so.
Great. Terrific.
Yeah.
So she'll be on board then by the time April rolls around for our next meeting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
So I'm going to reach out to Peter personally and just say, thank you. I mean, has he submitted a letter of resignation or?
No, he was, again, waiting until we found a replacement. So I think that, once the Board of Selectmen has officially picked somebody to replace him, or about that time would be a good time for that.
Okay, very good. We'll wait for that. All righty. Thank you. Any other items to discuss? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Ron? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate everyone's participation tonight. And our next meeting will be in late April. So enjoy the snow. Good luck with your skiing efforts.
Hope so.
And stay safe. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.